send it to you. Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy that I could invite today our great host. It's Rahi. Hello, Rahi.
Hello, Hannah.
Yeah. Hannah from this side, and Rahi. Actually, I'm in Poland, and Rahi, I guess you are in California, right?
Los Angeles, California.
Yeah. I'm very glad that you found the time for us and for our listeners, because you're also making a great work behind the ocean on the other side. And I've seen your Instagram and the things what you're doing, and it's just amazing. And actually, you are the first man what I have seen or like get in contact who is doing a Yonisteaming. So I'm very excited of this talk, our webinar. And I would like to give you some space on the beginning that you say something about yourself.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to connect with you in Poland. Thank you for reaching out. I feel like we're on the same team all over the world, and it's really important to make connections and to support each other and to learn from each other. So it's a real great blessing. Thank you for the invitation. So as you mentioned, I'm based here in Los Angeles. The work I do is called somatic sexual wholeness. And what I do is the work that I do is repairing ruptures that happen in the sexual embodiment of a client, starting from childhood. So I first explore what ruptures happened in the body, in the nervous system, and the psyche during childhood. And then how does that affect someone's interactions with their body and sexuality into their teen years, and how does that affect their patterns into adulthood? And usually in that process, there are unconscious guarding patterns that start to form in the body to protect the body. And so many of those happen in the pelvis and the genitalia that results in pain or burning or stinging, or on the other side, numbness and desensitization. And so, I know there's a lot of vaginal steam practitioners who are listening, and I really love vaginal steaming as a very safe and effective way to start the de-armoring process, whether it's a man or a female body. And I've studied genital de-armoring from different approaches, the tantric approach, the Taoist approach, psychosomatic approach. So I actually teach genital de-armoring in different parts of the world and online. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds great. And tell me, when I listen, like, how is the procedure that you study, or you checking out how is from the beginning, from the born to some age? Is it sometimes that it's actually not from this body, not from this life, that you can see also that the problems are coming from previous lives or from previous generations?
Yes. It's such a great question. Sometimes in the intake, the family history, I have seen that a client does not have any sexual trauma or violation in their history, but their mother has and their grandmother has, and this can show up in their own body. So, I think studies have been done with Holocaust survivors that show how transgenerational trauma gets carried from one generation to the next. I see this very much with sexual trauma, especially if the client has had time spent with their mother, with their grandmother, with their aunties, things of that sort. Yeah, it's not talked about very much, especially in the US, but I think it's very real, and it's kind of obvious when you start to investigate the patterns in the family history.
Yeah, I see it also at my work, because many times when the women has a period, like painful period, it's not only from that maybe she had bad first period, but also it can be that she saw her mother suffer from the period, so she took her program into her body. Or maybe it was even grandmother, she didn't know her, but it just got in the cells and stay in the body.
Yeah.
So tell me, you think all these things, like from the previous lives, from this life, it can be somehow helped by the Yonisteaming, or how does what's the influence of the Yonisteaming to the therapy?
Sure. Um, so uh, so a couple of things. Like I also want to say, you know, the experience of an infant moving through the mother's womb is also very significant because the infant is such a sponge. And if there is unresolved sexual trauma in the mother's pelvis that gets reactivated during the birthing process, you know, that can be absorbed within the baby's body as well. So that's another way that the unresolved trauma of the mother can get passed on to the infant. So to answer your question, Hannah, I find vaginal steaming to be very effective on many, many levels in healing trauma. You know, we know that it's very effective to increase fertility. We know it's very effective to liquefy and release stagnant, old blood, residual blood within the uterus. You know, there's so many benefits, but I like using it as a first uh, experience of the client to start to receive a massage in their pelvis, not with hands, but with the steam. So if the steam is warm and soothing, we know that it increases blood flow in the pelvis. We know that it relaxes the pelvic floor muscles, and it downregulates the entire nervous system because the vagus nerve, you know, goes down into the cervix. And, you know, for the male body as well, it's downregulating, it increases blood flow, it relaxes the pelvic floor muscles. And this is, you know, especially important in male bodies that tend to have a lot of tension in the pelvic floor. You know, what I like to do with clients is when they're steaming, a lot of times they might journal, right? And start having a dialogue with their yoni or with their vulva or vagina. And just in this kind of starting a conversation and an intimate relationship, they can start to ask questions, and the vulva or the vagina will be much more sensitive and aware of what it's feeling and to respond. And sometimes clients will, you know, just start having deep, reconnected experiences that was disconnected from some sort of violation or traumatic event. So, you know, in addition to increasing sensation, it's just a very gentle way to start to de-armor and release whatever unexpressed emotions have been held in the pelvis.
Wow, great. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. And also you gave me some ideas. This is really nice motivation with the writing, because I usually making meditation when they start sitting on the steam. So I guide them to get in contact with the yoni, with the womb, and start to actually hearing what she's saying, because she's all the time talking, just we are unconnected or we don't know the language. So actually it's really nice idea that they start writing some discussion with the womb. Wow, thank you for that. And also I like this point what you said, that actually it's like some kind of massage without touching, like it's a first touch, but you don't make it, you don't feel it like personally, or like because it's your intimate zone, right? You don't want to get there somebody you don't know actually.
Right.
I very often meet here people who are already stressed, that they're thinking they're like shy, or that I will see something. Like many times I hear this opinion, like they don't want to do the steaming, or they feeling shy because probably I will see their yoni or something like that. They don't even get the point if we all the time saying, no, you have a skirt, huge skirt. I don't see anything. It's everything covered. Still, even the idea, sitting in the circle, for example, because I'm making a circles, sitting in the circle and just the idea, okay, all of us, we don't have an underwear. We have a Yonisteaming, so it's some kind of intimate. But I like this point actually of no touching massage, because this is much easier to explain the way, like, no, I don't see anything. But look, maybe you have some problem there, and we can solve it by steam without touching.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this point. Thank you for the Rahi.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a lot of clients are not ready to be touched. And if they've been violated with someone else's hands, there needs to be kind of that time for a trust and safety to establish. So it can be a really beautiful, soothing, and pleasurable entryway to the de-armoring process. I also want to mention, Hannah, you know, sometimes when I have clients who have numbness around the clitoris or the vulva, before they start to steam, I will invite them to take organic castor oil and spread castor oil around their vulva or their clitoris. And then the heat from the steam starts to penetrate the castor seed properties into the body. And the castor oil increases blood flow and it starts to break up scar tissue. So if there's armor around the clitoris from too much vibrator use or some sort of violation, it can start to bring more sensitivity. And if someone is oversensitive at their clitoris, it can start to heal that as well. So that's another way I use the vaginal steam, to combine it with castor oil.
Wow, another amazing tip. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Oh, sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Also, like for example, in Czech, where I learned this method, actually, and the Czech is the main mentor, Monika Valova. She was learning from Kelly, which you
yeah,
probably know,
yeah.
from Steamy Chick. So yeah, she is a doula. I think it's in English, right? Doula.
Yes,
It's also the
yes.
same word.
Mhm.
And she made the like propagation in all the hospitals where women born the babies,
Yeah.
and also it's like almost half of them, which is like really amazing number, that half of the hospitals you can use the yoni steaming to give a birth.
Mm,
It's something unbelievable.
yeah.
And now I'm thinking about this connection even with that oil. That could be really, really nice, like to
Mhm.
support all this process, not only by the steam, but with the oil. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Kelly when she came back from the Czech Republic. She's making a documentary film now. And it's amazing how vaginal steaming and midwives or doulas in the Czech Republic are working in partnership with these medical doctors and hospitals. It's really incredible. And of course, you know, to induce labor, you know, steam can be so smooth and pleasant and effective. Um, but yeah, with castor oil, you know, for example, I had one client, she had a rash, a vaginal rash. So she would scratch her vulva often, and some of the skin at her clitoral hood uh, was exposed and it got stuck to her clitoral shaft. And so it reduced her pleasure by about 40%. And for months, she didn't know how to get it back. It was one steam using castor oil, and the hood detached from the clitoral shaft, and all of her pleasure sensations came back. So it can be a very effective, simple way of releasing any kind of attachment, but also to increase more blood flow.
Wow. Wow. Great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Because I think always the stories of life of some bodies are like very meaningful and helpful to the other people. Because if you hear that somebody has a problem like you, and you hear some solution, maybe you can try this way. Maybe it's not this way, but you can at least try, and let's see what's going to be happen. So can you share some more stories? What you do with the vaginal steaming? What's the results?
Sure. I mean, there's so many examples. So, for example, clients who have vaginismus, which is a closing up of the vaginal opening, it's usually because of some kind of psychosomatic issue. So, as an example, I had one client who grew up in a culture where sexuality was very shamed. And then she was in an arranged marriage with someone she didn't know very well. And so she didn't enjoy sexual penetration with him. And so, I think the body is so wise. It knows how to protect itself. And her vaginal opening started to close up so she wouldn't have to have sex that she didn't enjoy. So, when she first came, the first thing we did was vaginal steaming because she needed to start having a new association with the sensations at her vulva. So, because she was with a husband she didn't enjoy sexual penetration with, all of her mental associations with her vulva were unwanted sex. But because the steam is so soothing and it's so gentle and it's warm and it feels good, we're creating a new association with her genital sensations, right? And so, of course, it increased blood flow, relaxed the pelvic floor muscles, helped regulate her periods. But for me, it was really creating a new association with her vulva. And once she had enough steaming, she looked forward to coming just to steam. And then she was more open to receiving hands-on touch, where, we could educate her body of all of the pleasurable erogenous zones to increase blood flow. And then soon that vaginismus would start to relax and release because there was no reason to protect itself anymore. Right. So, that's, I think with vaginismus or any kind of unconscious guarding, vaginal steam can be really, really effective as long as it's, very warm and soothing and pleasurable. And then, the other example that comes into my mind is I had a client come to me 8 months after giving a traumatic birth. And, as we know, after a traumatic birth, the pelvis and the body has so much emotion that's held in that it needs to express and release. And when she came to me, she looked like she was still 8 months pregnant because she was numb from the waist down. And it just within a few minutes, sitting on the steam, she felt her yoni for the first time in 8 months. And just tears started coming down her face because she was reconnecting with her yoni. And, it seems very simple, but for people who are disconnected or haven't resolved a trauma, whether it's a birth trauma or a sexual trauma, the steaming is such a gentle, pleasurable way to reconnect with that part of the body that I find it very, very kind of easy and graceful. So it's a very graceful, like, reconnection with that part of the body. Um, and then, with men, I haven't worked, most of my clients are women, but I have steamed some men. And, again, it's a way to increase blood flow, increase libido, relax the pelvic floor muscles. And so the only thing that you have to be aware of is to make sure that the testicles are not exposed to the heat. Yeah, you can just rest them on the sauna, or what I like to do is I take a hand towel uh, that has cold water and then just rest the testicles on that so that, the testicles are at a good temperature, but the steam is uh, um, are meeting the perineum and moving up the anal canal into the prostate.
All right. Because when I've done some parts here, I found out that should be like a bit colder. But in the other hand, I haven't seen, or they didn't tell me that it would be some problem if the testicles are not, let's say, protected. Because it's like if you're going to sauna it's even higher temperature there, and it's all your body. So it doesn't make a big difference if you do a steam or if you make a sauna or if you take a bath, which is sometimes very warm. Then the testicles are in a much higher temperature than on the steam. So actually, I didn't protect them before. I wonder if I try next time when some man is coming, because I haven't seen such a big difference. Only the thing is that when the women sitting, they can have higher temperature because the testicles are not in the hole.
Yeah.
They are not that close to the steam. So then it can get burned for them. But from the other hand, also, I found out that if it's too warm for him or even for her, she can just stand up, not sitting on it, but stand up, and then warm up the meridians on the legs from the inside. So it's also helping with the running back, with the you use the word.
Circulation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. So yeah, I will check it out because I did this with my doctor from the Chinese medicine, and actually we did the testicles normal way, only he felt a little bit warmer, so he stand up, and then he told me all the benefits, and he was like, that's all right, you don't need to really protect them,
Great.
because it's like
Yeah.
comparing to sauna, comparing to bath, it's not a huge difference.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think like I think well, honestly, I think here in the States, people are very businesses are much more protective because there's many lawsuits here. So I think that's like a precaution just to be safe. But your point is really, really good. If you go to a sauna or a hot bath, it's much warmer. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be also the point of the States. Like as you said, you need to protect yourself a bit more than in
Yeah.
Europe here.
Yes.
There are the restrictions like tough. Yeah, I understand it. Okay, and can you tell me, like, because the guys in Poland, they're starting to be open to do
Mm.
the Yonisteaming. Sometimes they come in the couple, like that they are in the new relationship. They want to clean up the bodies and start like new again, new
Mhm.
relationship. So this is happening, or also some guy who really felt like has problem with prostata, is that
Yeah.
English word?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also hemorrhoids and stuff. So it's also helping the yoni steaming with these parts. And also when you heal, when you warm the asshole, then
Mhm.
you wake up the Kundalini energy
Yes.
to running.
Mhm.
So it's also helping them this way. Uh, what are the problems that usually if some man is coming to you, what's his problem? It's like health stuff, or it's more like psychical stuff?
Well, like the number one and number two biggest male complaints or issues sexually have to do with erections, right? If their erections are not strong or they ejaculate too quickly, right? And both of these can be addressed with steaming, because we know steaming increases blood flow, so the erections will be stronger, and it relaxes the pelvic floor muscles. So it releases tension, which is a lot of why people ejaculate quickly. So, like, I mean, male clients come to me for a variety of reasons. Um, a lot of it is just simple education. A lot of it is because of armor. A lot of it is because of shame. I have a lot of gay men clients come to me. But in all those instances, if it's shame, there's going to be tension in the perineal and pelvic floor muscles. So steaming can address that. If it's armor, steaming can address that. If it's ejaculating too quickly or not strong enough erections, steaming really is, there's no reason not to steam, because steaming will benefit just almost anyone. but especially men who have tight and tense pelvic floors, and then, in America, prostate cancer is the #2 killer for men. And a lot of men will have enlarged prostates as they get older. And there was a new medical device here in America that was released, and it's injecting steam into the prostate. So, we know that steam increases blood flow. So if there's built up blood or built up semen, coagulated semen that's not moving, the steam will help to move that energy. So it can be beneficial for, a really wide range of issues for men.
Yeah, yeah. And also you used a very nice sentence, which I really like to use. Like, it reminds me what I'm using for my clients, or even for people I'm meeting them for the first time. It's like when I'm asking them, for example, somewhere on the festival, we have some banner and they're reading, and I'm asking, like, do you know Yonisteaming? No, I don't have a problem.
Mm.
It's actually like, no, you don't need to make it when you have a problem. It's the point. Like, come on, you look yourself, you take care of your hair, you take care of your nails, of your skin. And what about your womb, creating a new life, giving
Yes.
you a beautiful feelings when you are connecting with the man? It's just like here in Europe, in part where I live, Czech and Poland, it's like taboo. It's not the topic really. Like, people don't talk about it. Like, we are sometimes, I feel like, jealous to this men's side when they are proud of the penis and they are, like, play with them all the time, or when they
Yes.
have free time, they are connected somehow. And the women, they don't have them.
Mm.
It's like she doesn't exist even, or to get some contact, like, why I should do this. Like, they don't even have that idea. So I really like to use the way to tell them, all right, like, you don't need to have a problem to use
Mhm.
it. You
Yeah.
can just use it to feel very nice,
Mhm.
to prepare your body for, let's say, baby, because if you want to get pregnant, or
Mhm.
if you lose the baby, there are also already some problems, right? But
Mhm.
you can also use it, like, to take care of yourself, to take care
Exactly.
of the bone.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to deepen your intimate connection with your own body and to empower your body, with greater stamina, health, blood flow. So I had a client who, he had no issue, no problem, but he steamed with the Steamy Chick has these 4 different herbal blends, and he did it with the disinfectant blend. And he said the next day, when I was sleeping, my erection, the quality of my erections was totally different. And I had new sensations because of the increased blood flow, So he had no problem before, but he discovered new sensations and new kind of erection that he would not have experienced if he didn't steam.
Yeah, yeah, it's really beautiful way. Like, even my partner, my friend, we doing these things together, the steaming. She went to Thailand, to Koh Tao Island, Koh Phangan, I think. Yeah, and there is a tantric school,
Mm,
which is run by the Polish guy,
mm,
and she went there to study tantric lessons or whatever, because there were so many different lessons.
mm,
And actually, she did the Yonisteaming to some men who asked for it. And there was the owner of the school, who is really like a tantric master,
yeah.
who can get to the deep connection with himself. And after the Yonisteaming, he said, like, wow, this was totally amazing.
Yeah.
I really need to do so much practice, so much focus to get into the level which I got after the Yonisteaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just amazing for
It's-
him.
yeah. So, if you can imagine, you know, the innermost kind of powerful organ for a man is their prostate. And many men never receive a prostate massage or even have explored, the health or the pleasure of the prostate. And once again, steam is this very graceful, easy way to receive massage there just with the steam. You know, it's not threatening. It doesn't feel like somebody else is invading my body. It's a very gentle way. And the herbs are, you know, every herb has a healing property. So it's really giving your prostate and your anal sphincter a healthy massage, and you're just going to feel so much more aliveness because of all the nerve endings and the nourishment that the herbs are bringing to that part of the body.
Yeah, wow, it's amazing. It's so nice to talk with you, to share all those experience from your side, from my side, and it's like so much easy connected. Like it's obvious. It's
Yes.
obvious how much it can help and how what deep work it can do. Oh, amazing.
Mhm.
I'm really glad that we can talk this way. And also, I would like to ask you some more thing about the women health because we have many issues here about I don't know, the endometriosis or some problems to get pregnant or some different issues. What are the most common clients who comings to you? What's the main topic of them?
Sure. That's a great question. So I would say, well, first of all, about 90% of my clients are women. So it's mostly women. And there's a couple of different categories. So one category would be women who were violated sexually, either as a child or a teenager, and they never addressed the healing of it. So, you know, many things can happen. For example, um, you know, if there's sexual violation when you're a child, before your body goes through puberty and the perpetrator is an adult, then that's a really powerful sexual energy being exposed to a child's body. So oftentimes the child will need to have a very, very powerful, overwhelming amount of sexual energy to feel aroused, right? So, you know, there are many issues that can come into play with people who've experienced sexual violation, but a lot of it is releasing the unintegrated emotions from that trauma, from the body. So that's kind of one big category. And then with that, you know, there needs to be learning how to voice what your body wants and voice your body's no and boundaries. So that's kind of like one category. Um, Hannah, I'll be honest with you, a big category is, uh, you know, women who married in their 20s before they really understood how their sexuality works. And they get married, they have kids. Now the kids are off to college, and the husband and the wife are now in their 50s or late 40s, and they're trying to learn each other's bodies again for the first time, but they don't know that, you know, they don't receive any instructions or how to. So a lot of it is educating the client about their genitalia's erogenous anatomy and how to expand the body's capacity for pleasure. So that's a big chunk as well. And then, you know, another chunk is mothers who have had some sort of birth um, experience that was never healed. You know, so it might be a scar like an episiotomy scar, C-section scar, vaginal tearing, or you know, some sort of injury that was never properly healed. And so, you know, after giving birth, their focus goes to the children. They forget about their own body, and then 20 years later, they want to be sexually active, but they don't know how to resolve that from 20 years ago. So these are some kind of, you know, big chunks, big categories. And then the last category I would say is just some sort of unusual physical, you know, physical either like healing, like for example, I once had a client. I mean, I've had clients who were circumcised clitorally when they were children, right? So that's something very unique. Or I had another client who had a vaginal mesh put in, and the mesh intertwined with her vaginal nerve. So when they took the mesh out, they took out her vaginal nerves. So she had no feeling or sensation. So we really had to tease out the nerve sensation, in our sessions. So the last category is some kind of medical issue. Someone had a surgery when they were 5 years old, and they felt like the healing never really fully healed. Or I had one client where the wall between the vaginal canal and the anal canal was missing at birth. So, she had no sensations in that wall because they put in a fake wall at her birth, but there's no sensation or pleasure. So it's these really unusual medical things. So those are kind of like the 4 categories.
Thank you for the sharing. I also found out like one of those categories which are very common. It's the ungentle touch of the doctors, like when they not with some carry on your feelings. They just do what they're supposed to do, like they do every day, like 10 times or something like that. So without looking for your boundaries, without asking you if I can.
Yes.
Or yeah, so I found out also very often that is happening, this topic, like that they just, after some visiting a doctor, they are locked and nobody can get in, and it's just like a forbidden part of my body, and I don't want to know about it because I'm blocked there, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't know how common it is in Poland, but there's a lot of physical therapists here, pelvic physical therapists, and many of my clients feel traumatized from going to physical therapists because they don't understand how emotions are held in the body or about consent. They're just trying to force and manipulate the pelvic bowl muscles so that they realign without considering whether the body's ready for it or not. So,
Yeah, and also like even the asking, because everyone has the boundaries in some different level, right? It's like your boundary can be on the level of the word and somebody of the touch. So those are very huge differences, and nobody is asking actually. They're just doing. It's like very often in Poland, it's to make a scissor section, like because it's easier. So they don't even try. There is.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, and something got stuck before, right?
Yep. Yep. But you were saying that even with C-sections, like sometimes without even the woman's permission, they will move ahead with a C-section.
Yeah, actually, this is very common in Poland. Like I feel in Czech it's a little different. That even if the baby is not turned, they can try to give a birth a natural way. And here is the rule: like the baby is not turned, scissor sections. Sorry, there is no different way. They don't try deeper, or like they don't take a time to, like, this is the shift. I got a shift to do, so I supposed to finish at 8, and you didn't give a birth. Okay, let's give you some injections, some
Yeah.
pills or whatever, and let's make it fast because I need to go. And it's not even with the care of maybe the baby doesn't want now, or maybe
Exactly.
needs some.
Yeah, exactly. It's not respecting the baby's sense of readiness. When does the baby feel ready to start pushing, through the canal? And also, the squeezing through the canal wakes up the touch receptors of the baby's body, right? And it is the first time the baby and the mother are working together, right, to have a positive outcome. There's so many reasons why C-sections are interrupting the natural process. Yeah, I know, like in Brazil, I think C-section rates are 90%, and it's largely to make it efficient for the doctor's schedule.
Yeah, this is really sad, and it's also big part of the national trauma, actually. Like that many women get into this trauma, they are not even conscious of that is some trauma, like that this is not right. This is not right to push you into the birth and to push you when you're lying on the bed. Come on, this is not a natural position to give a birth. Like it's not vertical. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think they're getting a lot of traumas from this part of the point that you also meeting some clients from this side that they need the help with unblocked, as you said, to giving the birth, because there are many traumas connecting with it. I also got two of them, so also to do some work with that.
yeah,
And I really feel like huge topic in here.
yeah,
Maybe it's also like everywhere.
yeah. Probably everywhere. It is a huge topic. You know, it's something that I am fascinated with is the cervix. Uh, you know, for 9 months, the cervix is preparing to birth this child. And when there's an unexpected C-section, the cervix is still waiting to complete the job it's being prepared for. And so, you know, I did a training in Denmark, and my teacher showed me how to complete that energetic birth so that the cervix feels complete. And she was working with a friend of mine who had an unexpected C-section, and she was pressing up against the cervix in a way to she was she would the woman was breathing as if she's giving birth, and there was pressure on the cervix, and energetically you know, my teacher Suzanne was able to take her hand out and place it on the chest of the woman as if it's the baby to complete that energetic process. So there's many reasons, you know, as you said, you know, why is the woman horizontal? She should be vertical. You know, we should wait for when the body's ready, when the infant's ready, you know, when the canal can accommodate, you know, the baby when it wants to come out. There's so many reasons to do it the right way.
Yeah, I hope we will get it to this point like that is start to be more often natural. That I think it was actually in Holland that they have like 30% birth at home.
Wow.
That it's like really natural way that women prepare this way, and we can talk like 100 years ago there was no different choice. It's
Right,
not that far.
right.
Uh, it's also like the Yonisteaming history, right? Like every time I asking some people, come on, remind yourself when you was a kid, there were no many pills. Like if you got sick, if you got some inflammation, what did you do? What your mother does? And my mother always gave me some herbs and sit into that, and I had to wash by myself. So it's not that far from the method what we trying to wake up again here to so people get used it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the history of vaginal steaming, you know, is quite long. And it seems like a lot of the countries, you know, in Asia and Southeast Asia, I think in Latin America, you know, I remember Kelly was telling me there's one culture, I think in Central America, all of the houses are built with an extra room in the back specifically for steaming. So, you know, like a lot of the indigenous people knew the benefits of this, you know, and then I think when Western medicine came in, it started taking shortcuts and doing things that were not natural. But yeah, I think the body knows, and, you know, the history has been around for centuries.
Yeah, yeah. And as we coming back into our roots, like when we founding the problems, we can come back in our roots when this was natural, when it was normal that okay, there is something block or we have some problem, some issue. We do the Yonisteaming and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so beautiful that you facilitate these women's circles where women get to steam together because, you know, my imagination is that, you know, centuries ago, that's how people steamed, you know, in circle, in community, so that it's just a regular practice where women can get together you know, share and connect and, you know, share their day or their week or their mothering experiences and steam at the same time.
Yeah, actually, there are like two ways to make it. What I've seen till now, it's like the way I do. It's that we have this circle where we are supporting each other when we hear each other, when we see each other. We're not interrupting when somebody's talk, and it's just like everyone has his own time. And then we sit together, and it's like kind of a deep meditation, relaxation. And the second way, what I've seen, one of the girls which visited my training of Yonisteaming, she's doing that. It's like women talk. They just sit all together, even where somewhere in the nature, and they're just talking, sitting there. And what's your day? As you said, like it was fun. And also now it reminds me that I heard that it's in States there are some salons of the Yonisteaming. Do you know something about it?
Well, in the States, a lot of the yoni steaming is offered in spas, you know, and I think some of the spas, like the yoni steams, are in a room so people can steam in the same room where someone else is steaming.
All right, all right. Because I've seen some videos like that women meet together, and it's like they would do nails, but they do the yoni steaming. They drink a champagne and have
Yeah.
some chats together.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think I know that there's some studios in New York City that are making it like a luxurious spa type of experience.
All
So
right, that's beautiful.
yeah, there's so many great ways of doing it. Um, but I really wish that, I mean, it's spreading the wisdom and the health benefits of yoni steaming are becoming better known in the States. I would like to see gynecologists, like people in the medical profession, start to acknowledge the benefits. The problem in America is, you know, something called the American Medical Association, and they have a lot of power over what practices doctors can recommend or should not recommend. So that's a bit of a conflict here. Even though the benefits are so obvious, if it's not taught in the medical schools, American doctors cannot recommend it. So that's the problem we have here.
Yeah, yeah. And also here is the problem, like when you go straight ahead to the website, to the Google, and you write down Yonisteam in Polish, if there is no our advertisement that we are on the top, then you can find some, yeah, this is really bad. We don't recommend because we got burned, and it's really unhealthy. It's like, who write this? Why
Exactly.
is it possible? Like, all right. As I always say to my clients, all the ceremony must be only pleasure. There is nothing that you can make it, you survive it. It's just a pleasure. So if you don't feel pleasure, tell me. We do something to make
Yes.
it pleasure. Like if it's too hot, use your skirt to make some waves. Or if it's too hot still, go down. It's nothing like how they should get burned. Like
Mm.
it's actually once I had this woman. She was from Poland but living in Norway, and she got burn on the legs from the inside, but because she was thinking, I will manage. It
Ah,
was missing the pleasure point. And even if you're telling them still around and around, she was thinking, oh, I can do this
mhm,
and
mhm.
not take care of herself. Like this is the kind of the main point. Like you're doing this to take care of yourself. So why it should hurt you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Kelly Garza, when she teaches, when she trains facilitators, the number one rule is that it should feel good. You know, it should be soothing and warm because I mean, I had a client just yesterday and I suggested steaming first, but her first experience was too hot, and that's enough to easily discount it. And you are really missing so many benefits as a result. So yeah, that's very, very important.
yeah, this comfortable pleasure point that you're feeling really good with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, Rahim. Yeah,
Well, I just want to say, I just feel like there's so many benefits, just simple benefits to having a regular STEAM practice. Even if it's, 20 minutes once a week or, 20 minutes twice a month, there's so many benefits. People just need to try it and find a facilitator who's trained to teach them. I mean, it's like the easiest way to get so many benefits in your pelvic health and your genital health. I just really want to encourage everyone to try it out.
yeah, that's true. I completely agree. I can sign it, like your talk. Thank you for that. I also feel it like this way that just do something for your womb, take care of it, and you will see that some results, even if it's a woman coming with the blood, it's different blood. Like I had different blood after 3 months when I started Yonisteam. And I never before had some issues, some painful period or something like that. But I have met many customers because I did like hundreds of yoni steaming, usually mainly for women. But I even saw sometimes that once was enough to make some little change. I'm always saying like, all right, you need to take some time. There are herbs. It's like, let's say 3 months or 6 months, or I'm not even talking because I don't want to scare them. You should do this all life.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter how old are you, but
Mhm.
you can care of yourself all your life, just to feel yourself healthy, to take care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad we had a chance to explore all the benefits in this conversation. Hannah, thanks again for inviting me.
Yeah, and thank you very much for the sharing all these things, all your knowledge. Thank you for your time. I'm really glad that we could make it, and I really hope that many people will take something from this talk and start to take care, actually.
Yeah, yeah, me
You
too.
have some last words? What would you like to say?
Just that our relationship with our genitals, whether you're a man or a woman, is really, I think, amongst the most important relationship we have with our body. And it's there's so many benefits to feeling such a deep connection and intimacy with your sexuality, with your genitals, with your power, with your creativity, with your intuition. It's just like a sacred spiritual portal. And I think vaginal steaming or urogenital steaming is one of the easiest ways to get in touch with that sacred part of your body. So I really encourage it for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. So I wish you a great afternoon there.
Yeah.
And a lot of customers that they come to you. Maybe you can invite somewhere on the end, like some of your website. Maybe somebody wants to learn in English. Maybe it would be good points to say some invitation to your places or to your Facebook and so on.
Sure, sure. So my website is called Somatic Sexual Wholeness, and I offer an online course called The Three Keys to Genital De-armoring. It's an online course, so people from all over the world, including Europe, participate in that training. And then I usually offer an in-person training of the three keys once or twice a year, and people fly in from England and Canada and all over, and it's usually done here in LA. And then I also have a podcast called Organic Sexuality Podcast, and you can go to my website and find all the information there, somaticsexualwholeness.com.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. And wish you all the best from the bottom of my heart, all the health and positive, peaceful energy around yourself.
Thank you so much, Hannah. It was wonderful speaking with you today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good time.
Thank you.